find a way to actually glue the base. There you can see the bolts. So I'll take this guy off again, 8mm. Just enough to loosen it. I should be able to pull it out. It's good enough. There we go. Oh, turned on for fuel, boy. Hey, let's check out to see if our fuel bowl is properly working. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open the drain out from the other end, but we need a cup in order to hold it. So I think we can find a cup in the trash bin here. Trash digging a little bit. There we go. All right. So let's open our drain bolt and see if fuel will pour out. Again, it's coming out from not the actual bolt itself. Well, it might come some of it from the actual bolt, but the majority of it should come from this little hole here. You can see there. Put a little hole underneath that. And we did 2 turns out from our drain bolt here. Right there. We did 2 turns out, so that should be plenty enough for most of the fluid to stay above here. It might. Let's see. If it doesn't, then we know that we need to turn out some more. But we want to make sure it drains out from this end, not the other end. So let me go ahead and position this. Get a screwdriver. I'll put the cup nearby up. Okay, let's get a flathead real quick. All right, let's see. Let's see if it spurts out some beer. 1, 2, oh, counterclockwise. There we go. Yeah. You hear it dripping? Now you can see it dripping. Okay, see that? It should just drizzle from there. So we did right. We're able to drain out. But there's no need to drain it. What am I doing? But I just want to see if it actually worked. So I'm going to close it back up. Just wasting my gas there. Okay, so we're going to tighten back up. Because the carb, I believe, oh, you know what? We might have to drain it because I think when we move it, the hose will actually come apart because this is mounted already. So there is a reason to my madness. So we do have to drain it out. Or else it's going to spill all over. When we actually, you know what? We got out of the way most of it. And I think we're good. We're okay. We'll leave it. We don't have to drain it out. There we go. Righty-tighty back. Okay, so that's it. That's a great way to drain out your bolt. Drain out your oil if you need to. Quick access. So we'll put this away neatly. And now it's off to inspecting the cylinder head and see what's the condition of it is. So now we're going to have to remove the bigger bolts here. I believe these might be 12mm bolts. So let's go ahead and just leave this hanging out here. We don't want to make sure, we don't want this tube right here to pop off. If it does pop off, then it's going to automatically drain from there. Okay, so we'll just leave this hovering around for right now. It's all right. There's some, is this gas or? Yeah, this is gas. Gas is getting on our gasket. We don't want that, so wipe it clean. Keep this tilted like this, or away from our gasket. We're planning to salvage our gasket here. Okay, so let's go and put maybe a tissue on there. There we go. Keep the area, keep gas. Gas is coming from the intake manifold a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the bolts here. And let's inspect to see what kind of issue we're dealing with on the cylinder head. This is no longer an electrical issue. We have everything properly grounded. We got good spark. It's now a compression issue or timing issue. Probably a high compression issue, really. Okay, so you can see it now. I'm going to go ahead and start removing these bolts. Sorry, I'm starting talking like a monotone voice now. So let me go ahead and get a little bit more pippy up here. All right. So 12mm, huh? I believe this is a 12mm socket. Yep, 12mm. change this out. We can put extension or not. It's fine. It's gonna take a bigger drive to drive it, so this will work. Lefty loosey. Here we go. Star pattern still the same. Once you get on there, all right, loosen one up like this, then crisscross over so it relieves the tension. Again, this had blue Loctite earlier, so that's why it's not coming off easily like butter. But that's what it's supposed to not do. Okay, back on top. Could put a little extension there, so far it's gonna scrape my bar out a little bit. Still have extension. There we go. This will work. Got the extension for it here. So we'll put the extension on there. Give it a little bit more leg room there. Clearance from the bar, you can just see. Okay, this one, the bottom one here. The bottom one's really good where the extension's needed. Scooter's teeter-totting a little bit. See which angle works best. Okay, it's time to loosen them up. They're already loosened already. Just to make sure, we'll start again, just to make sure this is not holding everything down. So loosening up and tightening, you still want to do a star pattern just for good practice. Oh, you know what we should have done? Actually, let's just do this real quick. Let's see how our, well, it's going to be loose now, but we remember we were seeing a tap. Wow. Look at that. We can't tell now because we already loosened our 4. We should have done that before we loosened the 4 bolts and see if it actually move our field, but this is way loose like it was before. So look at that, that's really loose. But it's already coming off the tensions, that's why. So that's probably maybe what's causing it. So we can't really tell anymore because we already loosened the 4 bolts. That's why before you use a field gauge, you want to make sure you tighten these 4 bolts down, because then it's going to affect your field gauge where it's sitting at. So since we already loosened up, it's not really saying that it was loose prior. We would never know, but it's too late now. We should have done that before we loosened the bolts. I should have done it. Okay. Wait, tightening it now. Why is... Oh, there we go. I want to show you how tight the cam chain is onto the rocker arm. Rocker arm's the only one that made it like surface-wise go flat on its own. But let's see how. It's almost coming off bolts. Am I tightening it back? Feels like I'm tightening it back, to be honest with you. Yeah, I am tightening it back. Alright, so probably could do it by hand a little bit. It's going to be a little tight, but there we go. Now for sure I'm loosening it, so this one's ready to go. Keep our washers intact. Put it right here. You can see all the little particles here. That's actually coming from the Loctite residue. You can see there. It's just like a cement that hardens and it locks the thread in from vibrating. So it did its job. You have to have that. Blue Loctite was great. It's you can use a tool to break it off, unlike red Loctite. Red Loctite, you have to actually torch it to a certain degree, and most of the time it might actually even melt your aluminum. So I wouldn't recommend using red Loctite for the most part. Maybe for some things, but I think in a GY6, it's probably not really necessarily. Some people use anti-seize too to keep it from actually the aluminum melting onto the metal and actually forming a solid bond. So anti-seize will help on certain applications. I think if you're going to put the thread in there, most likely it's pretty much for life. You can put blue Loctite, but you probably wouldn't even need to, because it'll start bonding when the engine gets so hot, the aluminum, it'll start bonding with the metal cylinder studs. But blue Loctite is just a good insurance, just to make sure it doesn't vibrate off. Okay, so there we go. We got all 4 of our washers and 4 of the bolts, 12 millimeter, sorry, bolts on here now. So now it's time to see. I want to show you how much of a tension this is. This is where, when I installed it first, I did question it too. If you look at it, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to try to anyway. It'll come off usually with a jiggle. Okay, maybe a little mallet hammer or something like that, but usually you can jiggle it off. See, I can't really jiggle it off because it's being held on by some force from the rocker arm. See how this side right here wants to bulge out more? That was the only way to get this thing right here to hold the camshaft pretty much parallel to the engine, or else it would have been like this. It'll be up like this. This end will probably like teeter-tot, because it was so tight, the cam chain here, that was pulling it inward, and its tail was outward. So you can see here, when I took it off, how much bulging it is compared to this side. See that right there? That side's still flush, right? See, this side's still flush? This side's bulging out like it's wanting to come back out and breathe. So yeah, so it's gonna be a little bit doozy trying to get this off. Should have got off like parallel style. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is loosen the cam chain. Hopefully that'll help us a little bit more. So let's go ahead and take the bolts on here. This one's 8 millimeter bolt. Here we go. Now before you loosen this all the way, get ready. Well, since my cam chain is actually, cam chain tensioner is actually almost defective, it might not even matter because this thing's not going to really do anything. But we'll make sure, okay? So here we go, we're going to loosen this. There we go. Wow, it's very tight in there. Kind of loosen one at a time. I mean loosen little by little, each one at a time. Don't loosen all the way yet, and start on the other side. The reason why you want equal tension and pressure on both bolts. Lefty loosey. There we go. Sorry, you can't see it. Okay. Again, we're probably not going to even use it no more, so we probably won't even have to worry about that Phillip one. We're just going to take it all the way out. But normally, if you did have a good cam chain tensioner, you know, it retracts back and everything properly, you won't take this all the way off yet, because or else you'll have to put this in a vise and hold it down while you try to take the Phillips off. So you want to break the Phillips loose, just in case it gets really tight. Okay, you see here, by loosening it, I'm not able to even still push it. So the cam chain really didn't do much other than just kind of place it itself there. The chain was already too tight as it is. Get this out of the way. Hose want to come for a ride. Yeah, you don't cross thread it. See here, it's coming little by little. It's almost the length of the intake manifold stud. Shouldn't be though. Yeah, this had blue Loctite also. See some of the residue coming out. Anything where it vibrates a lot from the chain rails and stuff like that, it's good to put a little blue Loctite. Prevent it from naturally coming off on its own. Okay, so I'm going to show you the proper way to take it off still, because just in case you follow my lead and you take it off both bolts and you say, well, I saw him doing both bolts, only because I'm getting rid of this cam chain tensioner and installing a new one. But normally you don't want to take it all the way off yet. Semi off, let's say. See how it levels off? Okay. Okay, before you take it all the way off, still on there, right? Then what you want to do is take a big Phillips, a #1 Phillips size if you have one, which is really something really big Phillips. So something like this will work. If you notice that this one is much more narrower. Well, that's a flathead, but this one's more narrow. You don't want something small like this because those things are big Phillips, and you want to go with something more like this one right here. See, it's fatter compared to this one. Cool. Okay. So that's what we consider a good size, preferably a #1, because those things are big Phillips heads on the cam chain tensioner. Okay, so you want to go lefty loosey. You want to break it. You want to break it loose. See that? See these two right here? They're holding it for you. These side 8mm bolts are holding it for you. Because if you didn't break it loose now, you would actually have to put in a vise and break it later. So I'm going to break it. I was trying to, see? There we go. See, that's why you want to get a big, huge Phillip. But now it's broken loose like this, you're good. You can just leave it in there intact like that. That's no problem. And then go ahead and remove the rest of the cam chain. So I'm going to do that right now with my hand. I think hand's too slippery to do it. Let's see if I can actually put extension into it. It's too light for a tool, but still too much tension for your hand. So I gotta get the best of both worlds. Okay, see the other side's too tight still. Let me see if I can get this one off with my hand. There we go. This one's, I think it's coming all the way off. Okay, this one's coming off. See, it's off, but the other one's not. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on with that one with the extension. Kind of come around a little bit over here. It looks like we have leverage. You don't want to cross thread it. If you're angling it and your screwdriver a certain way, it's putting more pressure in a certain angle, you might want to stop and reposition your screwdriver. Not screwdriver, your socket wrench. I keep saying screwdriver and socket wrench, the same thing. It's a tool, how about that? Just make sure you get the right 8mm tool angle in there. I think this is coming off. Yeah, there we go. See? That's it. The problem with mine is, here I want to show you. You're going to need a flathead to see this example. A small one, a skinny, narrow flathead. But you can see it. I'm going to get this on the tripod because I'll need 2 hands to do this one. Okay, gotta bend that leg right. Okay, so you can see here, this is what it looks like here. See, these are the bolts that came out of it. It doesn't really matter which position, to be honest with you. For aesthetic, if you want to put maybe this way, you can do that way. Keep your leathering in front of you, facing you. Or you can put it this way. Doesn't really matter, okay? It's just uni. Idea of this is actually putting pressure on that. See how mine doesn't? It doesn't retract, of course, because it needs something to turn it counterclockwise. So when you open this bolt here, all this bolt does is seals the oil. There's a little O-ring here. Little O-ring that seals the oil from the cam chain to not spill oil outward. So that's all this bolt does right here. It doesn't make things tight or screw things in. It just seals this whole area. But this is what actually the mechanism here. So what retracts, see, mine doesn't do that. I'll show you what a new one should do. So let me go and get a flat one. There we go. So something like this, a flat one. This has been useful for me for a lot of applications, including taking out the Woodrow key on my earlier video. So you can see there, you put it through here, and then you can turn it counterclockwise, or clockwise, I'm sorry, to retract, right? Maybe it's fixed itself now, I don't know. Before, I would have to actually, see, normally, if you let go of the screwdriver, it retracts back. I'm going to let go, okay? Okay, so now it decides to work now. So there's nothing wrong with my cam chain. But that's what a new one should have done. But mine, for some reason, it actually stopped and locked on its own. There you go. Let's see if I tighten it. Okay, you can't really re-tighten, over-tighten it or nothing like that. So, see there? That didn't go out. It's supposed to, see? It kind of interlocked. Let me see if I jiggle this a little bit. Maybe it was a fluke. But it's supposed to always, see that? Nothing should actually prevent it from not extracting back once the screwdriver is taken out. Now I'll show you what the new one does. Let me go get the new one out of the pack. We got all our products out here ready to be installed if needed. Back up. Okay, here's a new one. And I believe this is the cam change. By the way, the Tata one, they give you enough to get the intake manifold. So the gasket that comes with the Tata one, don't get confused, this one belongs to the cylinder. The Tata only gives you gasket for a cylinder head. And the cylinder head, all it has is pretty much, even though it looks like there's 3 gaskets total, you have your medium plastic one, or the thick plastic spacer for the intake manifold, and then you have your paper gasket for the intake manifold. This is not for the timing chain cover. In fact, if you measure it, it might be almost the same, but if you look at it, see that this is for the timing chain tensioner gasket. So I don't think it is, but it looks almost the same. You could probably get away with using it maybe, but mainly it's just to help support the plastic intake manifold gasket. And then the very last one with the shiny chrome run around, that's actually for your exhaust gasket. So a lot of people get these confused. They think they got, you know, already intake, a cam chain tensioner gasket. It's actually supposed to work in conjunction with the plastic spacer intake manifold gasket. And again, the last one is for your exhaust gasket. So let's go and take a look at both of them and see if they are actually identical. That way we know for sure. You can probably use it interchangeably. Okay, so anyway, this is what a new one should have looked like. And I thought I brought it, sorry. Oh wow, this is what gasoline does, by the way. You leave it in the styrofoam. Just for how long did we left it? A few seconds. It just melted it. Wow. Speaking of which, you remember that one that we did for our lower rear shocks? Let's check it out. Let's see what color it's got. Oh, there it is. Look how much black it turned. Oh boy. And you remember again, we were trying to use these for our bolts for our lower shocks, right? So let's check this out. Let's see. I know we're jumping right now. We'll come back to it. But I want to see. This has been left for almost a couple of days now. And we were trying to turn it to gunmetal with the spray. Let's see if I can rip this. Oh, wow. Look at that. So, man. Leaves a nasty tar looking. And this is what it came out of originally. So, let's see if I can fish it out and clean it. Yeah. God. This is just brand new in that little foam. Remember that spray that we use? By the way, this is what we're probably going to use to spray the exposed metal, which is going to put some primer on there. We can paint it afterwards if we really want to, but again, these are just a skeleton of the scooter, so it wouldn't really matter. This is what we sprayed it on. It was like a clear gel looking. And like I said again, I'm not sure it's going to make it like more prone to rust, so, but it just makes it a cool gunmetal color. That's why I chose to use this one. So I'm going to rub it off. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's gunmetal, all right. That's it. Let me do a good thorough job. Let me see if I can get focus on it. All right, so it's up close now. Gosh, I'm not sure what it did, but then you can hit with some brake cleaner or what? Unbelievable, look at that. It almost looked like it burned it or something like that, huh? It's just a gel paste. There it is. Let's go and get the new one here, where it came out from originally. I think we let it soak for too long. Maybe if we try to let it longer, probably eat the metal to ashes, huh? So look at that. Yeah, maybe. Might be left in there a little too long, but I think we can scrape most of it off. It's gonna be a nice dark gray color now. That's why I consider gunmetal. A lot of people might just call it as it is gray metal. What's that? It's like a clay builds up on it. Let me get one perfectly where it's supposed to be. Okay, we can hit with some brake cleaner. Finish it off with some brake cleaner. Look at that, see there? This is what we had before. See that? We'll hit with some brake cleaner, clean it all up. So yeah, so if you want like a gunmetal kind of thing, I'm not sure what it does to the metal though. Maybe weaker, maybe, I hope not. This is definitely one important safety. So I'm gonna try to see if I can break it. I doubt it. No, it's pretty strong still. So maybe for little trinkets like I guess the oil brake fluid, that's okay, but this is something that's supposed to hold your shocks in place. So you might want to rethink if you're gonna try to do it. I don't know what the consequences are, but I just wanted more of a darker gray color. So it got me to where I wanted it, but at the same time, there's a lot of cleanup. I didn't have to do that much cleanup. I think if you let it set for only 24 hours and start removing it right away and start washing the gel, you would have been okay. You wouldn't have this much to deal with. But if not, then this is the aftermath. Still looks pretty cool though. All right, so we'll hit it with some brake cleaner. Let's go and do that right now. Have it on here. I'll put this back in this Wolfgang pack of chrome one. So black versus chrome. Okay, so let me go and get some brake cleaner on here. Spray it well. Oh yeah. See if brake cleaner helps any. Feel like it's breaking it off easier. Not much, but it is. This one came out good. Yeah, again, you probably don't want to. I think the last time we did our brake caliper, our bleeding brake bolts, we only set it for 24 hours. This was almost 2 days. And I guess it wasn't anything needed, like any kind of rust material or anything needed to introduce it to making it that gunmetal color. So this one's ready. Just gotta clean out the thread a little bit. Once we screw it on there, we should be good. This one's a little bit more of a work project. Has all kinds of gunk in it. Almost like a hardened bubble gum. Unbelievable, huh? Alright, so we got out of there now. There you go. It comes off pretty good. I mean, it's not like serious stuff on there. It's like crayon almost. But what we'll do is we'll just go and leave it aside. Maybe get some brake cleaner on it and just put some container, have it soaked in brake cleaner. Let's see what brake cleaner will do to it. Let me go and get a little container here real quick and put in some brake cleaner fluid. I'll spray it on there and leave it alone. Give me 1 second, let me get some. Okay, I got something here to put in, and we'll leave it inside with some brake cleaner. Another plastic one. I guess plastic and certain chemicals is okay, but gasoline and styrofoam, yeah, you don't want to leave it in there too long. Well, now you can tell if someone's serving you gasoline, right? It starts melting the cup after a few minutes. So we'll just spray some brake cleaner in here. We'll just leave it to soak. Try to build it up. Ugh. Fume. Okay. Very harsh on your hands. You can see here. Kind of like sort of pickle it in there. We'll come back to that one later. But anyway, the fumes and stuff like that should lock in. Okay, so we're gonna keep this back here. And then we're gonna see what's gonna happen to it with brake cleaner. All right, that's back there. Brake cleaner back. Our battery is almost charged. Let's see what the voltage is on it. Okay, we got positive to negative. All right. Oh, sorry. Black one fell. Try to get on the terminal. Okay, so it's 13.95 volts you can see here. So it's actually, it's fully charged really. So see how fast it got back to it? It didn't take us an hour or two or nothing like that. And it's not even fully solid green yet. When it's fully solid green, it'd probably be 14 volts. Again, this is on the battery that I wouldn't charge with his original. Oh yeah, look at this one. Wow. God, that part must be something from the aluminum or chrome coating. Yeah, that's actually. And this is from the gasoline that we just tried. That really burned a hole in it. Put that in there. Okay, so going back to our cam tensioner. Idea what it should be like, a good order one. Okay, so this is a brand new one here. And this is the used one that won't even come off on its own. By the way, they also give you a little key too, so you can lock it in place. I wouldn't use this key to twist it too much because it's kind of like a light piece of metal only, and it probably will break off, and you don't want to actually, if it breaks off here and it stays in there, you're in trouble. You know, you can try and knock it off like this, but just use your normal screwdriver. And we want to test it out. What a normal one should always do, retract back. So here it goes. It has the same setup. See here, this was our original one, 5, and this is 7. Doesn't really matter. The number is just maybe the manufacturer did the coating. Feels like some kind of a light aluminum still with some metal. That's the shaft part. Okay, so we're gonna dig it in there. Okay, I feel like it's locking in. I'm gonna turn it clockwise. See how it's retracting? All right. It's not retracting all the way, but it's retracting. It's retract up to here at least. Okay. Let me let go. What? Same thing. Why is it? Oh, okay. All right. So maybe it will lock for you. So even the new one does that. So it might be not a problem at all. So let me go and do this again. Turn it a certain way. It kind of holds in place for you. So I guess you might have to counterclockwise a little bit, back it up a little bit just in case when you put it in there to make sure it actually releases tension. There you go, see that? Okay, so let's see if mine does that too then. If that's the case, then we don't need to change it. It wasn't never its fault. Yeah, it does the same thing. So we're good. We kind of learned something here. I thought it always will, you know, once you put it in there, retract it, then you have to really hold it tightly because some of them don't have, I guess these are built with some kind of like interlock for you, so you don't have to hold down with that little tool, because normally you put the tool in